Hello, I'm William Stewart. Welcome back to our verse-by-verse study on the book of 2 Timothy. I'm glad you're here. Such a wonderful book that tells us so much about how to minister to other people. Written by the beloved Apostle Paul, who wrote about half of the books in the New Testament and was the apostle to the Gentiles. This is probably his last book before he faced beheading in the what was thought to be the persecution of Nero in the mid-60s. So he's writing to his disciple, Timothy, who headed the church at Ephesus at that time. Ephesus was an important trading center in southwest Turkey. Timothy faced a lot of resistance, it seems, in his leadership and his teaching, and I think was facing some level of discouragement. And much of 1st and 2nd Timothy is spent in trying to encourage him, but in the same way, it also encourages us as we are like Timothy, as second generation believers and beyond. So we can apply these important lessons. We're in chapter 4, verses 3 and 4 today. And Paul has just finished telling Timothy to herald the word and to preach it in season and out of season. He says, for the time will come, in verse 3, that they will not endure sound doctrine, literally healthy doctrine, but after their own lust they shall heap unto themselves teachers having itching ears. So what's this mean? Well, he says the time will come. When is this? Well, we don't know precisely. It seems it'll be in the time of the church, because this is a pastoral epistle telling us how to minister in the church. We know Christ will come again after the church is taken away at the rapture, 1 Thessalonians 5 and, 1 Corinthians 15. So it is at some time in the church, and perhaps it's then. Otherwise, there'll always be people who have doctrinal problems, which is true, but it seems that will grow worse. So it's imprecise. We do know historically that in general in the church, after the apostles had died and their giving of the true doctrine, that apostasy quickly erupted without their leadership. So what was the age of the fathers in the first generation became the age of the apologists in the second generations and beyond, between 100 and 200 AD. So yes, across the Roman Empire, there was a growing, at that time, worse teaching away from what the apostles gave us. Interestingly, in Ephesus itself, seems to have not fared well in terms of their own Christianity. If we read the narratives between the initial letter to the Ephesians, the issues in the two letters of Timothy, the book of Acts, and also especially the book of letter to Ephesus in Revelation, Jesus was threatening to take the lampstand, otherwise the church itself, out of Ephesus. And Ephesus is really mentioned very little after the 1st century AD in terms of its Christian vitality and effect, and really died away as a city, and such a prosperous city as well. Perhaps those two are related. But indeed, a time did come, both at Ephesus, it seems, and across the empire, where there was greater apostasy after the apostles had died. Some people may read this or understand history differently. So, of course, look at it yourself. Having itchy ears. So these people who fall away will want teachers that will, since scratch where they itch. They will want to be allayed, and that what they believe, apart from Scripture, is really okay. We still see this today. We see it with cults, Christian cults. We see it with liberal denominations where people don't want to follow Jesus Christ, and they have pastors that in a sense teach them what they want to hear. People who are New Age or globalists, or who want to call themselves spiritual, indeed want to hear what they want to hear from the people that they hire or they see as spiritualists or experts in what they're interested in hearing, and they like to hear those things, but they're apart from the truth. In verse 4, they have turned their ears away from the truth. God has given us the truth through Christ, through the apostles, into the Word of God. And they have followed fables that they see as truth. And of course, they dislike Christians because we cling to that truth and don't do what they say. Okay, several enlightening verses. We basically should stand for the truth and what we know is right, realizing that we do face resistance and people who actively want to believe something else, so they will feel good about themselves, and of course they resist us as well. Thanks for joining me today. Come back next time, and we will continue on and finishing this really wonderful book. Goodbye for now.